Welcome back to the evening edition on INX. As we celebrate Women's Month, we honor the stories, the experiences, and the voices of women from all walks of life. While every woman's journey is a unique one, many are connected by shared experiences of love, loss, resilience, healing, and the courage to keep moving forward. Storytelling has long been one of the most powerful ways to preserve those experiences. It allows us to reflect, to learn from one another, and perhaps most importantly, to remind each other that they are never alone in their struggles. Our next guests have done exactly that through Beyond Her Silence. Now, this is the book, Beyond Her Silence. This is a moving collection of stories that explores the many layers of a woman's journey, from navigating grief and loss to finding strength through adversity. Each story offers readers not only a glimpse into deeply emotional experiences, but also messages of hope, reflection, and encouragement. Joining us this evening is Farah-Dinah Ismail, the compiler, editor, and contributor to Beyond Her Silence, as well as contributing writers Nadia Essop and Shazia Mia. Now, Assalamu alaikum, ladies, and thank you for joining me.
Wa alaikum salam. Jazakallah so much for having us.
Alhamdulillah. Now, let me start with you, Farah. What inspired you to compile the book Beyond Her Silence, and what conversations were you hoping to start?
It's a book that I've always wanted to compile. I think women need to share their story, and I think there's such healing in sharing your story. Beyond Her Silence came about with the incredible bravery of the group of women who have contributed to this book. And I think it is a source of healing for other women. And I think once one woman says their story or writes their story, other women follow suit. They have the courage now to tell their stories.
Absolutely. I mean, even if it's an anonymous writer, but you still feel like,
Yes.
okay, I can share my story because there is someone out there going through similar.
Yes.
And I mean, perhaps if I share mine, it can encourage somebody else or inspire hope in someone else as well. Nadia, your chapter is titled My Story, My Voice, and shares your journey through marriage, widowhood, and single parenthood. What gave you the courage to tell such a deeply personal story?
Obviously, Farah, once again, she encouraged us to tell our stories, and I really would like to thank her for the encouragement. Eventually, at first it wasn't easy putting down your story on paper and reflecting and revisiting the struggles, the challenges that you went through. But then I realized if you share your story, even if one person can learn from it or be less lonely, then it was worth telling your story. I would also like to actually leave a legacy of resilience, faith, and hope to my family and future generations. That not just telling your story or what happened to me. It is also to be able to go forward and uplift yourself, no matter how hard life gets.
And the thing is, most of us go through life changes, as we can call them. Like, most of us find ourselves in such situations. I myself found myself in your situation just last year. So that's definitely one story that I'm looking forward to reading and connecting with as well. Shazia, your story speaks about grief, grief, grit, and a gavel. And it also speaks about loss while pursuing your academic and professional dreams. And sometimes people want you to put everything on hold because you have lost something. Now you're experiencing loss, so put your life on hold. And sometimes there's no room for that. You have to continue with your life. Now, looking back, how did those experiences shape the person that you've become today?
Okay, so when we talk about loss, mine goes back as early as being a child and losing my father at 5 years old. I think, the impact of losing a parent that young changes your life. Our lives changed in a day. It was, one day our dad was there and the next it wasn't. All of a sudden, we were 4 children with a single mother. And, the impact that that has had. When we speak about grief, we can't put it in a box. There's a version of me that grieved my dad not being at school events, a version of me that grieved my dad not seeing me become a woman, a version of me that grieved my dad not being able to give me away at my wedding, not seeing me become a mother, not being there to love my children, But in all of those phases, there's something to take away. There's resilience being built. There's understanding when circumstances are beyond control. Now you have a single mother. And all of those shape me into the person that I am by just taking away, little lessons from everything that I face. Also, when I miscarried with my second baby, if I tell you I had the miscarriage and I went to work the next day, and I didn't tell anyone. And while I don't think that's the healthiest way to deal with it, it just speaks to being able to take loss, understand it, give it a name, give it a place in your heart, but move on. Life carries on. And I think I've carried that narrative with me to just keep on going. Life's going to throw curveballs at you. Get up, stand up, get done, go.
Absolutely. Life happens, and like I said, and to every one of us, it's not just selective. It's not only you that's going to experience everything. We all go through something in our lives. And, speaking about the miscarriage of your child, sorry about your loss, but do you feel like people put you in a box when, you don't get up and go, or when you do get up and go and now you want to continue with the life, and people put you in a box and they expect you to, just stay at home and grieve and focus on this and that, and meanwhile you just want to continue with your life?
No, 100%. And when I speak about grief, like I'm saying, we can't put it in a box because everyone deals with it differently. Me sitting at home and just sitting and crying is just not who I am. It doesn't help with the healing. And I think that's the thing. The societal expectations of how grief is to be dealt with is unfair. Every person has their way of dealing with grief, and that's okay. If that means getting up and going, if that means you need to stay at home and cry, then that's okay as well.
And, Farah, the title, let's talk about that a bit, Beyond Her Silence. It is incredibly powerful. How many women have been suppressed and even now aren't able to share their stories? What does it represent to you, and why did you feel that it captured the essence of this collection?
Beyond Her Silence, it was actually a consensus between all of us. We had a few titles, but I think for all of us this spoke the most volume. It is a title that sort of told about really how she was silenced and now she's come through it and come over the hill, so to speak. Similar to the book cover. If you look at the book cover, it's of women who have climbed the hill, gone through all the trials and tribulation, leaving the hardest part behind them, and now walking towards a beautiful new sunrise, a brighter future, and having gone through what they've been through. So Beyond Her Silence, it speaks so many volumes, and it's a case of women do not want to be silenced anymore.
We shouldn't be.
We shouldn't be.
Women shouldn't be silenced.
Yes.
We should be able to tell our stories and encourage others and inspire them as well.
Yes, definitely. And I think for so long, women have been taught to keep everything hidden, to keep quiet for the sake of the community, for the sake of family, for the sake of, in certain cases, perpetrators. And I think women now do not want to do that. And as you said, why should they?
No. And Nadia, many women carry difficult experiences quietly, and as we've just mentioned, that women should be able to share their stories. After writing your story, did you find that sharing it was healing in any way?
Yes, most definitely. It was healing. And telling your story, or even what you're going through, the grief, the anger, the challenges, that doesn't define you. It's finding that inner strength that you get up and you're going to build a future for yourself. You don't need to be there, and I feel if other women start telling their stories, they must remember they're not alone in it. And they must take the support and comfort from other women that went through similar situations, and find the strength and not keep quiet. And they must remember that by telling your story and sharing it, your voice matters.
Absolutely. And Shazia, your story shows that grief and ambition can coexist together. How did you find the strength to continue pursuing your goals while navigating such a personal loss?
You know, I think the biggest thing is acknowledgement, understanding and giving it a name and saying, this is what I'm feeling, this is grief, giving it a place to reside within yourself, and understanding that while it exists within you, it's not who you are. You don't allow it to become your identity. So you're allowed to feel it, and you're allowed to react and act in the manner that you see fit, but it doesn't have to become who you are. It's a part of who you are, but it's not who you are as a whole. And that's why, I mean, along with your dreams, your hopes, your failures, it coexists and you move on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have any choice but to move on, especially if you've got kids and they're looking at you, etc. I'm like, move, you do something. Now, Farah, your contribution, Letting Go, explores the emotions of watching your daughter begin a new chapter in her life, your daughters rather, begin a new chapter in their lives. So it's something that many parents experience, but most of them often don't talk about. Why was it important for you to write about that season of your life?
I think it was a very emotional time, seeing your daughters move away. And I think for years we nurture our kids, we teach them what they need to know, and we get to a point where we have to let them go. And I think that is the hardest part. And we've got to trust that whatever we've installed within them, their morals, their values, their faith, is going to see them through on the next stage of their journeys. So it was important, I think, to let parents know, and especially mothers, I think, because the mothers go through the most with their children. And I think it was important to let them know that it's not about losing your child, it's about developing a new relationship with them, a different relationship with them, and taking that to the next step and celebrating where your child has got to. But also, I think, celebrating where you are and discovering who you are without your children. And I think that is the hardest part.
And ladies, what are your thoughts on that, Nadia?
Yes, I have experienced a similar with my daughter leaving the house. You know, that emptiness syndrome. You feel that loss. You feel that hole in the house, you know, that person that's no longer, because their life has carried on. They move to the next chapter of their lives. And yet you feel the loss because your daughter is no longer in the house. But also you celebrate it because, I mean, it's an accomplishment, you know.
It is, yeah.
And like Farah said, you hope the values that you've installed in them, that they would carry it forward in their lives.
And I always told my daughter that it's not the fact that she's left, well, it is the fact that she's left the house, but it's just the presence that you miss, you know. I think it's coming home, as I mentioned in my story, it's coming home, having that chat, you know, the company. I think that's what you miss, just the presence, having them around you. Yeah. It took me a long time to adapt to that.
Well, I guess I have to start preparing now because I've got little kids. And so I have to, at this point, I'm like, when are you going to grow up and leave? And now I'm like, oh, no.
Enjoy them.
Yes, enjoy them, don't rush it.
All right. It was in 2021 during the thick fog of postpartum. I was still adjusting to life as a new mother, but something was deeply off. I was constantly ill, and some days even breathing felt like a conscious, labored effort. My body ached in ways I couldn't explain, and my mind felt like it was running through mud. I could see Zayed trying to hold on to me, to pull me back into the present, but I felt like a distant observer in my own life, as if I was watching everything unfold from the outside, unable to participate fully. I wasn't living. I was barely existing. In short, it was hell. I didn't know what was happening to me. I had so many unknowns. Why was I always exhausted? Why did anxiety cling to my every thought? Why had I felt so emotionally low when everything around me told me I should be glowing, grateful, and basking in new motherhood? I had always dreamed of becoming a mother, so to feel this way was terrifying. That is an excerpt from the book beyond her silence. And these three lovely women are joining me in studio to talk more about it. So if you want to know more, then listen up. Now, as the excerpt that I've just shared was one of the chapters, and as mothers, we all go through that, with all of these different types of feelings and emotions and thoughts, etc., that fills our minds, and we don't know what to do and how to take the next step. How important is it getting a good structural support or people around us who can support us? And Shazia?
I say when we look at a woman, we always have to look who's behind her. I'm very grateful. I do have a village. I do have a supportive mother. I have the most incredible siblings. I have the most wonderful in-laws who help me at any given stage with my children. I have, friends that encourage me, support me, push me when I don't even believe in myself. So I always take that when you're judging someone's situation. You have to look at how many hands are helping them, especially during early motherhood. I mean, I have a supportive husband who's there, who pushes me, who encourages me, who helps with the kids, and these things are all part of the reason I was able to get where I am in life. And not everyone has that, and that's the reality of the situation, that sometimes there is no village, and I think from my own experience, they played a pivotal role in me achieving what I've achieved. It goes back to every single person that's been there in any way, shape or form, whether it was a word of encouragement, whether it was, helping me take care of my kids when I wrote board exams, whether it was someone who said to me, it's the last step, just go ahead. I mean, and not everyone has that. And it's of vital importance to have that support system during a time where your hormones are a mess. You are stretched out thinner than you ever have been in your life. Motherhood is no easy feat. I mean, and who you have around you is very important.
And Nadia, your thoughts?
Fortunately with me as well, when my husband passed away, my in-laws was constantly there with me right up till now. 33 years, it's amazing.
Sure.
They never left me, they never left the kids. I also had very good friends, and not forgetting my siblings, especially my sisters. They were always there, they believed in me, they encouraged me, and obviously, thanks to Allah, Allah never burdens us what we can't bear, so our faith and our resilience, that also plays a big role. And like Shazia said, having that support and that village to assist you, especially having 3 kids and being a young single mother, what now? What do you do? What's the way forward? But having that extra support to just give you that breather and allowing you to also move forward, because you become the single provider of the family. So support structure is of utmost importance.
Absolutely. Do you want to add anything, Farah?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is really important to have that village behind you. I wasn't as fortunate as these 2 ladies. I didn't have a village behind me when I had my kids. But I can do that for my children. I have a granddaughter who's almost a year, so I've tried to help my daughter in whatever way I can. Probably a little bit too much, but, I'm just there for wherever I can help. I want to be there. I want to show her that there is support for her and how important it is.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's one thing that we need the most as women going through all of these different phases in our lives. It's just support, that village, even though they say it takes a village to raise a child, but it actually takes a village to, raise that woman into the woman that the village wants her to be. So if you are behind that woman as a village, then she will be the one who raises the child according to the standards. The standards. That's how I put it.
Standards.
Yeah. Now, Farah, as the compiler and the editor, you had the opportunity to bring together women from different backgrounds and different phases of their lives as well as experiences. Was there a common thread connected to all of these stories?
Yes, there was. Although each story was unique in what it told. The common thread was resilience. These women that were able to get through whatever they were going through bravery, through courage, all the trials and tribulations, and to come out of it resilient, full of hope, healing. I think that's one of the most important things, to be able to do that. The women in this who have contributed to this book are absolutely amazing. I can't praise them enough, because it's hard to come forward and tell your story. It's not the easiest thing. And I think sometimes seeing it in black and white, I think, helps the healing process as well. Being able to see your story, to read it, to know that other people are reading it. And a very nice little feature that we put on all the stories was a little footnote, just a little bit of advice that the particular writer would give to a woman going through something similar. And I think that is just a nice little touch, and I hope, inshallah, that it's helped, many women, because there's so many stories in this book, and I think women will relate to one of them, or one part of them.
Absolutely. No, that's beautiful. I like that little footnote there,
Yes.
because it's like a personal message for
Yes.
you. And,
Yeah.
no matter what phase or stage you're going through life, you will get that personal message that's meant for you, and it will actually help you get through that a stage or phase. Shazia, your chapter highlights perseverance and self-believing, just be a believer, be a go-getter, and have perseverance, and to persevere. And I'm glad that we're seeing a lot more women these days who are doing exactly that. They are resilient and they are persevering. They are not taking nonsense, So it's good to see that. Now, how important is it for women to continue investing in themselves, even during life's most challenging moments?
As I said earlier, life is going to throw you curveballs. It's never going to be smooth sailing, and the biggest investment you can make in yourself is, taking care of yourself, looking after yourself, believing in yourself. And why I say that, even coming back to motherhood, if I believe in myself, if I push myself, this is what my children see. A mother who didn't give up on her dreams, even though it was hard, even though, I was studying for board exams with a 3-month-old in my arms. It's these things that I can say to them one day, I never gave up on my dreams. I chased them with you by my side, and I think that's what it's about. It's about looking at yourself, you investing in yourself. The output and those who benefit from it is not just yourself, it's all of those around you, as well, So I think one of the biggest investments we can make is in ourselves.
Absolutely. I remember having to leave my, I think he was just 3 months old, my 3-month-old son, just to go and work. I had to fly down to Cape Town and then spend the whole 12 hours working, and then I'd be back later on. And then it was difficult to do, but it needed to be done. And, sometimes those are the sacrifices that we have to make. And even now, he's almost 4, but he still tells me, why do you have to go to work? I said, well, because somebody has to pay the bills. You're not old enough, so somebody has to do it. Nadia, resilience is a word that we hear often, and as it is, we've been hearing it often right now. But it also can mean different things to different people. What does resilience mean for you today?
To me, is even though you go through these difficult challenges, it is to bounce back, to be able to carry on, to find that inner strength in you, and find yourself. And for me, writing my story, that was resilience, and looking back and what I've achieved through this telling my story.
As we prepare to celebrate Women's Month, it's the month of August, it's our time to shine right now. Farah, why do you believe it's so important to continue creating spaces where women can share their stories openly, honestly, and safely as well?
I think women need to share their stories. We need a platform where we can talk about what we're going through, knowing that we have support from other women, family members, friends. We had a little get together with another organization called Muslim Friends, and there were a few women that told their stories, and we had a little bit of a Q&A. But it was just an amazing get-together that women asked questions, they gave advice, we listened to each other's stories, and I definitely think we need more platforms like this to be able to do it. Women need to tell the stories, and stories are so important. The stories matter. And as Nadia said, women need to know that they're not alone in their struggles, that there is someone else there that has gone through something similar that can help, that can offer advice, or just be a pillar of support.
And speaking about pillars, you know, society always puts you on a pedestal, and they want you to be like a pillar of strength. You know, people look at you and then they ask you, or rather tell you, oh, you're so strong. You know, I don't know how you're doing it, but you're so strong. And Shazia, to you, do you think society expects women to appear strong all the time, and even when they're struggling?
Oh, 100%. And I think that's the irony of it all, is that as women, we're expected to have this feminine energy and bring the femininity. But in the same time, you show weakness, or you show a softness, and that's perceived as weakness, you know. Yeah. I think, simply put, society still has expectations of women to just keep on going, and just, you know, like, keep on pushing on when you're breaking. You know, you reach a breaking point. And I think what we need to understand is, as women, while managing emotions is important, we're also allowed to feel what we need to feel.
Exactly.
And, you know, these expectations, we don't need to live up to them. We don't need to show society that we're strong, or we're struggling, or you know, you need to make the personal choice of what works for you, and that's okay. The way it's perceived is up to them, and that has nothing to do with me.
I mean, yeah, I always say, look, I don't want to be strong, okay? I just want to be me. I want to be able to be me, to be free, to be fragile, to break whenever I feel like it. So don't tell me that I'm strong. Just say, oh, okay, look, you're doing great, or I love this passion or resilience that you have, but I'm tired of hearing strong. Oh, you're a strong woman. I'm like, no, please. Strong is this, not what we go through in life. This is the strength that we want.
No, 100%. I think, just to add to it, is, I think, you know, just generationally, I think as women we have, and I think this was also what I didn't want to convey in my book, was this idea of glorifying overworking.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't what I was trying to convey. It was more of this is possible, even though life is going to throw you curveballs. You're going to face obstacles, and, you know, you see this with younger generations. They don't tolerate that. They're not willing to be, you know, to be overworked, or be told what to do or how to do it. And I think, moving forward, that's the approach that we need to use. You know, you're saying, I mean, call me anything but strong. You know.
And I think this younger generation, I think it's, you know, we were the ones that sort of carried the weight and did everything without saying anything. We just kept quiet. But I think the younger generation are definitely standing up for themselves more, you know, and don't want to be labeled in any which way. So I think that's important.
No, that's amazing. Now, Nadia, who has been the greatest source of strength or inspiration in your own journey?
I think my kids, you know, looking at them, and the journey that we've walked through, and what they have accomplished, you know, to me, it's a sense of pride. And I think my late husband would have been very proud of the achievements. You know, they're adults now, and when he passed away, they were only 4, 6 years, and 11. And now they are amazing adults, and they have prospered, you know.
MashaAllah. Shazia, if you could sit down with your younger self, knowing everything that you've experienced already, what advice would you give?
Breathe. Just breathe. I think one of the things I would definitely tell myself is going back to investing in yourself. I think, you know, when you, I always say I'm a recovering people pleaser. So, you know, I would tell myself, you know, put yourself first. You know, look at what's good for you, what works for you. Invest in yourself. You know, you can't make everyone happy. That's just not the way it is. But I would definitely go back and say to myself, I think having experienced loss so young, I have these truncated timelines in my head that things need to be done now. And, you know, I put these ridiculous timelines on things and the things I wanted to achieve. And I think as I get older, I just realized there's no hurry, you know, just one thing at a time, one step at a time. And if I could go back, I would say to her, just do one thing at a time, one thing at a time. You know, tomorrow's problem is tomorrow's problem. Let's get through today. But yeah, it would definitely be the way I managed my emotions, you know, and just had a clearer path in where I wanted to go.
Let me throw the same question to Farah as well as Nadia. What would you tell your younger self?
I would tell my younger self, I had a very difficult childhood, so I would say it will get better, but there will be a lot of obstacles along the way that you're going to have to climb over. But be patient, you know, you will get there. Again, breathe and take in every moment. I'm all about living each day to its fullest, really reveling in every single moment we get, because we don't know how long we have. So I think I would tell my younger self to just enjoy every single moment, no matter how difficult it was or how many things you had to go through. Just get through the moments; they'll get easier.
And Nadia?
I would tell my younger self, stop chasing to get to the next chapter. You know, we are so in a hurry to grow up and so in a hurry to achieve certain goals. And yet taking things one day at a time, one step at a time, you know, you are eventually going to achieve it, especially looking back now at my older self. You know, you will accomplish whatever you set goals for yourself, you know.
Amazing. And quickly, where can the viewers get the book?
It's available on my website, www.thedinajournal.com. It's available at Exclusive Books, Hyde Park, Rosebank, Melrose Arch, and Morningside on the 15th of August. And it's available on Amazon as well. There's quite a few stockists. If they go to the website, they will find all the stockists there.
All right. Thank you, ladies. It has been an amazing and inspiring and thoughtful, I mean, everything. And I can't wait to read the book. But thank you so much for coming in and for sharing your stories with us.
Thank you so much for having us.
And I wish you well in your future endeavors. And Farah-Dinah Ismail, Nadia Essop, and Shazia Mia are taking us through the book, Beyond Her Silence. And it reminds us that every woman has a story worth telling, and that by sharing our stories, by sharing our experiences, we are creating space for understanding, we are creating space for healing as well as hope. And we look ahead to Women's Month, or as we look ahead to Women's Month, may we continue to celebrate not only women's achievements, but also the voices that inspire, empower, and uplift others. Viewers at home, do stay with us. We will be right back after the break.